Okay, I want to show you something kind of interesting here. Now look right over there, and we're going to show you some cool stuff. Now here we have Google Maps, and it has this default view that I didn't know they had, so we're going to, it's kind of fun. But we're going to zoom in, and here's Africa, and we're going to roll this around. There's the Arabian Peninsula. Europe is up here. We got France and Portugal and Ukraine and all that stuff. We'll get past the stands, which stand just means land. So it's the land of whatever the prefix is there. And the spot that's labeled Xinjiang used to be labeled the Taklamakan. And the Xinjiang is the Chinese designation for the area. But if we click up here, and I'll show you, here's Taklamakan. And it zooms way down into this little tiny spot. And if we zoom back out, it's that place that China wants us to think is Xinjiang. And I'm probably going to mispronounce all of these names, and I'm not going to worry about it too much. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Correct me somewhere. That's fine. But respond with a video response. Thank you very much. Over here we have Kashgar. Now, Kashgar is a pretty interesting place. It's fun to look at from Google Maps. There's some really cool stuff like an Islamic prayer house, a masjid in there that's really neat. But I want to show you something else about it. I'm going to zoom way back out. And if you look, now this is a high altitude basin, the Taklamakan Desert is. And if we look at it from far enough back, we can see that during the Ice Age, actually there were several ice ages, but during an ice age, ice would come down and would have covered that area with a lot of ice. And when it melted, there's a pretty good chance that there would have been an ice dam over Kashgar, and that this thing would have filled with a lot of water, that eventually it would have broke loose and come down out into these lower elevation areas where the Aral Sea is. We'll zoom in over here. We'll see what's left of the Aral Sea. The Russians used it for farming water, and now what they have left is a brackish landlocked lake that has no drainage, and it maintains its elevation by evaporation. That and farming. Now, if you look over here, this is labeled Black Sea, but this has no label. And the Black Sea, you can see the depth map really well. You can see it very detailed all through the Mediterranean. The Black Sea is definitely there. This area, which you have to zoom in really far to see Sea of Azov, you zoom out a little bit and that disappears, and there's an artificial blank spot. It's covered. They don't want you to see it. So they don't want you to see the bottom of that. It's the same thing over here. They don't want you to see the bottom of that. Now you can look at this basin, and there's a little bit of detail to it. You can look over at this one, and you can definitely see that that's a satellite image of the bottom along with some depth information. You can definitely see how that works. But you zoom out, and the Caspian Sea isn't labeled until you zoom in, and it's a artificial fill color. So they've covered that over. Now let's take a look at a map that I have that shows the Caspian Sea and the Black Sea's over here. And look at this detail. That looks like a fault line. And it also looks like the depth is very shallow across here. And here's a shallow spot along that fault line through here as well that goes out to the Black Sea. Now we can scoot over, and in this, the Black Sea doesn't have very good information, but that's fine. We'll go back and we'll look at this and look at that, and there's a shallow spot here where that fault line goes through Turkey, through Istanbul, And you can definitely see the fault line through there, and that goes out here. Now, what I'm thinking is that at the end of that portion of the ice age, we're still kind of ending an ice age. It's kind of interesting. But I think what happened was there was an epic flood in ancient times that flowed from the Taklamakan Desert down through these areas my little pointer's showing, through Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan, or whatever, what we're labeling those now. But it came across here and hit the Caspian Sea and deposited a lot of material across here from what now is Turkmenbashi and Baku, through Azerbaijan, Georgia, and out to the Black Sea. And I just thought you'd like to know that. Now, this is just what appears to be true to me. I don't even know if technically it would stand up to what a formal scientist might call theory these days, but I just think that it seems to have something worth looking into. Thank you very much. This is Darren Marchant with the Astroponicist.